Somewhere in human history, we crossed an invisible line. For the first time, a machine took a human life. But when exactly did this happen? And more importantly, has it happened again? For thousands of years, humans were the only agents capable of intentional killing. Animals kill by instinct, natural disasters kill by chance, but only we, humans, could choose to take a life. Until now. We live in an era where machines don't just perform tasks, they make decisions. They drive our cars, perform surgeries, patrol borders, and in some cases, they kill. This is a documentary about three crucial moments in human history, moments where the line between tool and autonomous agent began to disappear, moments that force us to ask who or what is truly responsible when a machine takes a life. January 25th, 1979, Flat Rock, Michigan, the Ford Motor Company assembly plant. Robert Williams, a 25-year-old parts retrieval worker, was doing his job, checking inventory in a storage facility. He had no idea he was about to become part of history. At approximately 2:30 p.m., a 1-ton robotic arm struck Williams in the head. Death was instantaneous. Robert Williams became the first recorded human being killed by a robot. The machine didn't malfunction in the traditional sense. It was doing exactly what it was programmed to do, moving parts from one location to another. But its sensors failed to detect Robert Williams standing in its path. No alarm sounded, no safety mechanism engaged. The robot simply continued its task, unaware that a human life stood in its way. The aftermath was unprecedented. Williams' family sued, eventually receiving a $10 million settlement. But more significant than the money was the legal precedent. This was the first court case in history where a robot was the defendant, even if only symbolically. The first time humanity had to legally grapple with the question, who is responsible when a machine kills? Was it the manufacturer who built the robot, the programmers who wrote its code, the company that deployed it, or the machine itself? These questions, first asked in 1979, remain unanswered today. But here's the crucial question. Was this really artificial intelligence? Or was it just a badly designed machine? The robot in the Ford factory had no awareness, no decision-making capability, no autonomy. It was a tool, nothing more. A very dangerous tool, but a tool nonetheless. To find a true AI first kill, we need to look for something different. A machine that doesn't just execute commands, but makes choices. A system that evaluates situations and acts accordingly. We need to fast forward 37 years. July 7th, 2016, Dallas, Texas. What began as a peaceful protest turned into one of the deadliest days for American law enforcement since September 11th. Micah Xavier Johnson, a 25-year-old Army veteran, opened fire on police officers, killing 5 and wounding 9 others. By midnight, Johnson was cornered in the second floor of El Centro College. Negotiations had failed. The situation was at a deadly impasse. SWAT teams couldn't safely approach. Tear gas hadn't worked. Time was running out, and there was real fear of more casualties. Dallas Police Chief David Brown made a decision that would change the nature of law enforcement forever. He ordered his team to use a bomb disposal robot. The Remotech Andros Mark V A1 is designed to handle explosives safely, keeping human operators at a distance. It's equipped with cameras, a mechanical arm, and treads for movement. But that night, it was equipped with something else. Approximately 1 pound of C4 explosive. Officers remotely piloted the robot through the hallways of El Centro College. They navigated it up to Johnson's position, and then, with a human operator pressing a button from a safe distance, they detonated the explosive. Micah Johnson was killed instantly. This was the first time in American history that police used a robot to kill a suspect. Not to disarm a bomb, not to breach a door, to kill a human being. The reaction was immediate and divided. Some called it a necessary tactical decision that saved lives. Others called it an extrajudicial execution,
a dangerous precedent, the beginning of a slippery slope toward robotic law enforcement. But let's be clear about what happened that night. The robot didn't decide to kill Micah Johnson. A human operator, following orders from human commanders, made that decision. The robot was the delivery mechanism, nothing more. Just like Robert Williams' death in 1979, this was a tool in human hands. Or was it? Consider this. The operator who detonated the explosive was not in the building. They were safe, removed from immediate danger, watching through a camera feed. Does that distance change the moral calculation? When you remove the human from the immediate consequences of lethal force, does something fundamental shift? Military drone operators experience this every day. They pilot aircraft from bases thousands of miles away, watching their targets through screens, pressing buttons that launch missiles. They go home to their families after their shifts. The psychological distance matches the physical distance. The Dallas robot took this one step further. It wasn't just physical distance, it was the insertion of a machine between the decision and the death. The robot became an intermediary, a buffer between human intention and human mortality. And here's where it gets truly complicated. If we accept this use of a robot, where do we draw the line? Can police use armed robots to subdue violent suspects? Can they use them for crowd control? Can they patrol our streets autonomously, making split-second decisions about when to use force? These aren't hypothetical questions. They're being debated right now in police departments and city councils across America. The Dallas incident opened a door. We're still deciding whether to walk through it. But if you think this is concerning, you haven't seen anything yet. Because while we debate the ethics of remote-controlled robots, something far more autonomous is already on our streets.
March 18, 2018, Tempe, Arizona, 10 p.m. Elaine Herzberg was walking her bicycle across a dark street. She had no way of knowing she was about to become another kind of first, the first pedestrian killed by a self-driving car. The Uber vehicle was operating in autonomous mode with a safety driver behind the wheel. The car's sensors detected Herzberg 6 seconds before impact. 6 seconds. More than enough time for a human driver to react. More than enough time for the car itself to brake. But the car's artificial intelligence couldn't decide what it was seeing. First, it classified Herzberg as an unknown object, then as a vehicle, then as a bicycle. The system was confused, and that confusion was fatal. The car didn't brake. The safety driver, trusting the autonomous system, wasn't paying attention. Elaine Herzberg died from her injuries shortly after arriving at the hospital. Here's what makes this different from Robert Williams in 1979. This wasn't a simple machine following pre-programmed instructions. This was an artificial intelligence system designed to perceive its environment, make decisions, and act accordingly. It was supposed to be smarter than a human driver, safer. It failed catastrophically. The aftermath revealed something disturbing. Uber had disabled the car's emergency braking system to reduce false positives, to make the ride smoother. They chose convenience over safety. But more fundamentally, they had created a system that could kill without any human making a conscious decision to do so. The safety driver was charged with negligent homicide, but was she really responsible? She trusted the system to work as advertised. Uber settled with Herzberg's family and shut down its Arizona testing program. But the fundamental question remains: when an AI system kills someone, who bears the responsibility? Is it the company that deployed the system? The engineers who programmed it? The AI itself? Or do we need an entirely new framework for understanding culpability in the age of autonomous machines?
Elaine Herzberg's death is not an isolated incident. Tesla's autopilot system has been involved in multiple fatal crashes. In 2016, Joshua Brown died when his Tesla, operating on autopilot, failed to detect a white semi-trailer against a bright sky. The car drove directly underneath it. Tesla was quick to point out that autopilot is not full self-driving, that drivers must remain attentive and ready to take control. But the name itself, autopilot, suggests autonomy.
It creates a psychological contract. Trust the machine. And people do trust it, often with fatal consequences. We're seeing the same pattern in healthcare. AI systems now assist in diagnosing diseases, recommending treatments, even performing surgeries. In 2021, an AI-assisted surgical robot malfunctioned during a routine procedure, causing severe internal injuries to the patient. The patient survived, but barely. When a doctor makes a mistake, we have centuries of legal and ethical precedent. Medical malpractice law is well established. But when an AI system makes a recommendation that kills a patient, who is liable? The hospital? The software company? The algorithm itself? Consider this. An AI system analyzes a patient's symptoms and recommends against immediate intervention. The patient dies. Later, investigation reveals the AI missed critical warning signs a human doctor would have caught. Is this negligence? Who can be held accountable for the reasoning process of a black box algorithm? We're creating systems that make life and death decisions, but we're not creating the legal and ethical frameworks to govern them. We're moving fast and breaking things. Sometimes the things that break are human lives. And it's about to get much worse. Because everything we've discussed so far, every case, every incident involved humans somewhere in the decision-making process. A human deployed the robot. A human designed the algorithm. A human chose to trust the system. What happens when that human element is completely removed?
Right now, at military research facilities around the world, engineers are developing the next generation of autonomous weapons. Systems that can identify targets, make tactical decisions, and deploy lethal force without any human intervention. They're called Lethal Autonomous Weapons Systems, LAWS, killer robots. These aren't science fiction. They're real, they're being tested, and some are already deployed. The SGR-A1 Sentry gun, used by South Korea along the DMZ, can detect and track targets automatically. It has a human-in-the-loop firing mechanism, for now. But the technology to remove that human override already exists. Israel's Harpy drone can autonomously search for and destroy radar installations. Turkey's Kargu-2 quadcopter reportedly attacked human targets autonomously in Libya in 2020, making tactical decisions without human oversight. The line between assisted weapons and autonomous killers is blurring rapidly. Military officials argue these systems are more precise than humans, less prone to emotional decisions, faster to react in combat situations. They might be right. An AI doesn't feel fear, anger, or hatred. It doesn't get tired. It doesn't make decisions based on bias or prejudice. But it also doesn't understand context. It can't comprehend mercy. It doesn't grasp the moral weight of taking a human life. An autonomous weapons system sees targets and threats, binary decisions executed in milliseconds. Kill or don't kill, reduced to an algorithm. The Campaign to Stop Killer Robots, a coalition of NGOs, is desperately trying to establish international laws banning fully autonomous weapons before they become ubiquitous. But they're racing against technology that advances faster than legislation can keep pace with. And here's the terrifying reality. We may have already crossed this threshold without realizing it. Military operations are classified. Autonomous systems are deployed in conflict zones where oversight is minimal and accountability is non-existent. It's entirely possible that an AI has already made an autonomous decision to take a human life, and we simply don't know about it yet. This brings us full circle, back to our original question: when will we witness the world's first fully autonomous AI-initiated kill? The uncomfortable truth is, we may never know for certain. The transition from tool to agent is gradual, not sudden. There's no clear moment when a machine becomes responsible for its own actions.
In 1979,
Robert Williams was killed by a robot that had no awareness of his existence. In 2016, police used a robot as a weapon, keeping human operators at a safe distance. In 2018, Elaine Herzberg was killed by an AI system that failed to properly identify her as a human being. Each case represents a step along a spectrum, from simple mechanical failure to remote human operation to autonomous decision-making. And with each step, the question of responsibility becomes more complex, more diffuse, more impossible to answer definitively. We're facing a philosophical crisis disguised as a technological problem. For thousands of years, the concept of moral responsibility has been tied to conscious intention. You are responsible for your actions because you chose to take them. But what happens when the entity taking the action has no consciousness, no intention, no understanding of what it's doing? The law struggles with this question. Can you prosecute an algorithm? Can you hold a corporation liable for the emergent behavior of a complex AI system that even its creators don't fully understand? If an autonomous vehicle faces a split-second choice between hitting a child or swerving into a wall, potentially killing its passenger, who decided how it should be programmed to respond? These aren't abstract thought experiments. Engineers are making these decisions right now, writing code that will determine who lives and who dies in future accidents. But they're doing it without clear ethical guidelines, without societal consensus, without democratic oversight. We're sleepwalking into a future where machines make life and death decisions, and we haven't stopped to ask whether we're comfortable with that, whether it's even moral, whether there's a point where convenience and efficiency become less important than maintaining human agency over human mortality. Some argue that AI systems will eventually be better at making these decisions than humans, that they'll be more fair, more consistent, less biased. Maybe they're right. But even if an AI makes better decisions on average, does that make it acceptable to remove humans from the process entirely? Is perfection worth surrendering one of the most fundamentally human responsibilities, the choice of life and death? Others argue we're already past the point of no return, that AI systems are too integrated into our infrastructure, our economy, our military systems to extract them now, that the question isn't whether we should allow AI to make lethal decisions, but how we can ensure those decisions aligned with human values. But whose values? Which humans? Who gets to decide what an AI considers acceptable collateral damage? Who programs a robot soldier's rules of engagement? Who determines when a self-driving car should prioritize the life of its passenger over a pedestrian? These are political questions, moral questions, questions that go to the heart of what it means to be human in an age of intelligent machines. And we're avoiding them. We're letting engineers and corporations make these decisions by default, through the accumulated weight of thousands of small technical choices that, taken together, define the values of our autonomous systems.
From Robert Williams in 1979 to the uncertain future that approaches, one thing has become clear. The line between tool and agent is not just blurring, it's disappearing entirely. We're creating systems that don't fit our existing categories, that challenge our understanding of responsibility and autonomy. The question is no longer whether a fully autonomous AI will take a human life. The question is whether we'll recognize that moment when it happens, whether we'll care, whether we'll be able to do anything about it, even if we do. Because here's the final uncomfortable truth. We may have already reached that point. Somewhere, in a classified military operation or a self-driving car accident or a hospital AI recommendation, a machine may have already made an autonomous decision that resulted in a human death, and we just haven't realized it yet. Or perhaps we have realized it, and we've collectively decided that the benefits of these systems outweigh the risks, that convenience, efficiency, and technological progress matter more than maintaining clear human control over lethal decisions. If that's the case, then we've already answered the question at the heart of this documentary. We've already decided that AI can kill. We're just negotiating the terms. The first kill may have already happened. The question is, how many more before we decide we've gone too far?